Okay, so we're going to be talking about a number of things in this video. We're going to be talking about aspects of our society that are unhealthy, aspects of our society that in many ways goes against God and God's creation, in which aspects of our society are brainwashed into thinking that they were born wrong, that they were born the wrong gender, that they need to change their gender. We'll talk about the brainwashing of women on social media with the use of filters on their smartphones, which in many cases is possessing many of these women to, in many cases, adulterate their appearance to where they look like they are drag queens themselves instead of women. We'll talk about this obsession with trans and the military and ask ourselves, why is that? We will also talk about the drag shows that have been seen in various places in the United States in which sexual activity is shown to the children and how unhealthy this is. So that's where we will start. And our society is so brainwashed that if one speaks out against these things, they will be seen as a right-winger. And people shouldn't be so divided over politics. I'll just say this in an introduction. There's no reason why somebody can't be pro-life and also anti-war, anti-genocide, against the millions dead. But because people are so divided and under mind control, they will often fall into the controlled left or the controlled right. Okay, I am not a member of either, and I'll continue to bring this up for new arrivals to this YouTube channel. So, people are being killed by the millions overseas, but nobody says that their life matters. But there's an unhealthy obsession with the LGBTQ community in America. I'm not for their oppression. I support them having rights. But if all people do is just talk about LGBTQ and their plight, when in fact plenty of people care about them, in fact the churches care more about them than they do the victims of war or racial minorities in America. And I find that to be satanic. And there are many homosexuals out there that are disgusted by heterosexual activity, but they might find it weird if those of us that are heterosexual are absolutely grossed out and disgusted by homosexual activity. It's hypocrisy, and I will always stand against hypocrisy. Now, when I was younger and I started to think about the apocalyptic reality and the zombie apocalypse, I would think about a dystopian future in which rapist homosexuals have their way with heterosexuals, just to be frank. And this was long before Abu Ghraib. Do you remember Abu Ghraib in Iraq? In which white servicemen and women stripped down Iraqis, forced them to form a naked pyramid in a prison, while a white woman showed the AOK, also known as the white supremacy symbol. And we can also see how Google is a porn site. So when we talk about staying off of porn sites, are we really staying off of porn sites if we're using Google? You can type up a number of sexual terms into Google and see highly graphic, highly violent content. It's not an accident that they're sexualizing their children in a wide variety of ways. And so when you look up Arab men, for example, you will see homosexual activity. Whereas if you want to see heterosexual activity, they will only show you white and black men. So there's a number of different reasons why you may come to your own conclusions that the modern day sex industry is unhealthy. And it's one thing if you want to see some sexual content, right? Not one to judge, but I think that it's a part of an agenda that the internet makes hardcore demonic pornography free and suggested at the top of the algorithm to where normal sexuality with all that sickness cannot be found unless, for example, you know exactly what website to go to, but it won't be recommended by Google. So we're not just talking about homosexuality, trans, or gender confusion. We're talking about the warping of human sexuality across the board. Do you understand? Do you understand? Do you really understand? Because you can be a heterosexual and think that sexual morality is only happening with those that are confused about their gender and be blind to the immorality in heterosexual sexuality. So let's just get that right out of the gate. Get that clear immediately at the beginning. So let's move on. We should be taught to love ourselves, not be narcissistics or see ourselves as superior, but to love ourselves as God made us, regardless of our income levels, regardless of our nation that we were born in, regardless of our ethnicity, and regardless of our gender. So I'm going to speak from the heart, and I'm going to ask some questions. And I'm going to ask you to participate if you feel like you have some answers. Why does it seem that they're pushing the trans agenda, not only in society, but in the military? We know that when human beings take these drugs that mess with their hormones, as they have the highs and the lows and the lows and the highs, that they become unstable. We know that there have been some mass shooters that were on some of these medications. Why then is this being welcomed in the armed forces? And I'm almost asking a rhetorical question because I think that I have part of the answer. If you can drug up your servicemen and women, or whatever you might choose to call them, gender 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, with these drugs, will they be more likely to kill innocent men, women, and children? Yes or no? Leave a comment down below. Why was there a publicized event in Kabul, Afghanistan, in which U.S. servicemen were engaged in certain homosexual hazing behaviors and actions? I recall reading a story in 2006 with regards to this. Large bonfires, men stripping their clothes off and going at it with each other, while, of course, killing those that are called the enemy. What's spiritual in that? Is this not Sodom and Gomorrah on steroids, as some of these men actually take steroids? And why, by the way, would the U.S. government be involved years ago in developing what is called a gay bomb? It reminds me of that song, "You dropped the bomb on me, baby. You dropped the bomb on me, but you get me wrong." Yeah. Why would they do that? And so some people think that they might be more spiritual for being homosexual, or that someone is more spiritual because they are homosexual, and they are, say, giving psychic readings. As I said to you in a recent recording, for the first time, even though I've been promoting the work of a man for years that has predicted China and Russia invading America, I thought that it was odd that a psychic would ask me if I was gay. Wouldn't he already know that I'm straight? And why does it matter if I'm gay? Would he see me as a more valuable human if I was gay? The truth is, many women will actually see men as more trustworthy if they are gay because of their disdain for straight men. Okay, and that's the truth. So, what is really going on here with the military branding itself to be tranny friendly? I also brought up the fact that former mayor of Portland, Oregon, Sam Adams, tried to make changes in the city of Portland to bring in individuals to work for the city of Portland, and basically changing things at the city level so that they could have a free sex change. Why is that so important? Why are people that want to have a sex change seen as more qualified and more competent, more compassionate, more intelligent, more educated, more spiritual? Is this the truth that people that hate themselves and their God-given gender, is it the truth that they are more conscious? We're going to move on to other points. This brainwashing is going on with women. We see how women are being conditioned to put filters on their faces. We see how women are using filters to make it look like they have a heavy use of eyelashes or makeup. We see how what used to be beautiful straight women who looked fine on their own, they might want to use some makeup, some of them, because they're falling apart, because of their drinking, because of their smoking, because of their antidepressants, but their head is so far up their own ass that they won't actually take care of themselves, so they put on layers and layers of makeup. And a lot of people think that these makeup channels are like, you know, the next best thing since sliced bread, putting chemicals on your face, please. But that's one level. That's another conversation for another time, that TikTok psychosis. But now you've got women putting filters on their face that is adulterating the image of their own face, using a smartphone to look like they are a drag queen. Okay, so they have promoted the drag queen persona so intensely that it's brainwashed women into thinking that they need to compete with a man that dresses like a woman. Not only that, there are some women that will also use these filters to make it look like they have a mustache. How horrifying is that? And some of these people think that they're serving God. You cannot have two masters. You cannot serve Jesus and thank God for making you the gender that you are, and then dabble with satanic technologies that make you look like a gender other than what you are. Do you understand? A simple yes or no in the comments will be sufficient. When I noticed the rise in women with blue hair in Portland, with green hair in Portland, and specifically those colors, although they will dye other colors, including pink, but specifically green and specifically blue, I knew in 2009 that that was a sign of possible demonic possession. And as I've explained to you in the past video, I believe that most people now, most women and men, most men and women, are being possessed by these entities. If that wasn't the case, if that wasn't what is going on, you would still see an anti-war movement. You wouldn't see a controlled left and right. You would see people awake to how the algorithms are manipulating them. You wouldn't see so many people act like they're victims of the algorithm while they reach thousands to tens of thousands to hundreds of thousands of people. I called out Vinny Eastwood the other day. For years, he and others have acted like they're victims, and there's Facebook suggesting him. There's Facebook suggesting Tim Pool. There's Facebook suggesting Mark Dice. There's Facebook suggesting like 10 hardcore far-right content creators. And a lot of these people are so corrupt, they don't realize that they're being rewarded by the system. They're profiting by the idea of calling themselves victims. On that note, while they profit off of that, it's also vampiric for people that follow my work and others to look down upon me for encouraging some financial support. Okay, you should give back, especially to starving artists that you know for a fact only have 50 views per videos, that you know for a fact are being shadow banned. You should never look down upon a man who is seeking to earn an income, doing what it is that he is good at, doing what it is that he loves. Expecting everything to be totally free is at the same level of being an energy vampire. It's not rare, it's not right, it's not fair. It's an energetic balance. And so those that have the financial means to support channels like this should do that. At the very least, you can share the content. At the very least, you can volunteer to get the word out. And there's many ways in which I've given you direct tips on how you can share my content outside of social media. So let's continue. Let's continue. Children should not be encouraged to be hypersexual. And they're doing it at the hetero level, they're doing it at the homosexual level, and they're doing it at the change your gender level. So let's talk about three categories. At the heterosexual level, we see the promotion of preteen models. We see a documentary that was pulled by Netflix by the title of Cuties. There's also a number of things regarding Netflix that are unhealthy. Promoting the cartels, 50 Shades of Grey, and lots of other things. There are some decent things on Netflix, and there's also a lot of garbage. So let's move on. With the drag shows in America, we have seen videos of men acting like they're screwing each other up the rear end while performing in front of children. And so while I'm not a right-winger, there is no excuse for children being taken by their parents to these events, and it only makes the right wing look more sane as we see a brainwashed society that picks the left or the right. What seems to be a mentally ill, bipolar society picking either one direction or another. Yes, there are two genders. Yes, there is night and day. Yes, there are two opposites. There is the yin-yang, with one energy going one direction, the yin, and another going the other direction, the yang. So in nature, yes, there are the two opposites. And yes, there are two genders. But when it comes to politics, we're very much controlled by this, you must pick a side. You must be this or that. And you can have a combination of ideas that may be on one side and a combination of ideas on the other side. For example, someone that is pro-life, anti-abortion, but also anti-war, anti-invading foreign countries. The vast majority of people that are pro-life, anti-abortion, have no problem with babies being killed in foreign countries, showing they're not really pro-life. Do you understand what I'm saying? Are you learning from me? And so, there's something wrong with those people on the left that want to get back on the right. Oh, you're grossed out by little kids seeing men in drag, thrusting their hips, touching their private parts, men acting like they're humping each other and doing it in the you-know-what. And so they feel that because they're at a war with the right, that they need to increase, in some cases, the amount of drag shows. Now, on the other side of that, because the right is controlled and it is being directed into a dark place, even if some of those people on the right say they come in the name of Christ. So you will see the emergence of neo-Nazis show up at some of these rallies. And you will literally see Google, when you look up the names of some of these groups, promoting the Bitchute channel of some of these neo-Nazi groups. So instead of AI shadow banning that content, it promotes it, debunking the theory that it's a woke AI, that it's a woke algorithm. They will promote far left and far right at the exact same time so that there is a war happening that is fueled by technology. And if you know another human being that is saying the things that I'm saying, or pretty close to it, let me know their name in the comment section and I will check out their content. No one yet has taken me up on that challenge and has ever recommended anybody else, nor have they let me know about any other people that are of my ethnicity or combination of genetics that are in the modern truth movement. I stand alone. That's why I ask those of you to show some appreciation for me, to not take me for granted. Maybe it's a mistake that I'm bringing you several videos today. I don't know if you really appreciate this. Sometimes I think I really need to stop uploading for weeks at a time until you start engaging with the content, sharing the content, posting my YouTube videos on Reddit. But I feel compelled as a servant of God, trying to become the best asset to the true creator of this world, not the false creator that's masquerading as God, but the true creator of this world and the universe or the omniverse. We should all seek to be one of the 144,000. You should also seek to evolve your spirit beyond this prison planet toilet reality. You should never confuse your own awakening with the world awakening. You shouldn't come to the defense of unconscious homosexuals, unconscious heterosexuals, unconscious black people, unconscious Afghanis or East Indians or white people. If you yourself are having an awakening and if you yourself are learning, do not then be a tribalist and a collectivist. You need to embrace the individual within you that is going against the grain. Do not act like society is ready to hear my voice. Do not think that I'm going to be successful in the near future, that people are going to come around to supporting my broadcasts. I have faced incredible opposition and persecution as a result of the content that I have created. Okay, so hopefully the things that I'm sharing in this video are getting through to you. That there is a attack on the children. And you can learn about this from individuals like Gypsy Fox, even if Gypsy Fox says unconscious things such as the people that took the vax should die. He literally made a great deal of content hoping that the people that took the vaccine would die. And here's the truth, folks. Plenty of people that took the vaccine are not going to die. Not only that, many people that didn't take the vaccine are straight up zombies. That's not a pro-vax argument. It's just the truth. Many people are projecting onto others that others are the zombies without seeing the zombie apocalypse within themselves. Many people out there that consume my content are way more interested in certain details about my life rather than learning from me and helping me spread my word. And as I said, you can do that by downloading my videos and putting them on DVDs. It's really not that difficult. It's really not that time consuming. And most of you should know how to make a DVD. And if you don't, definitely not a good sign. If you now have computers that don't have DVD players or DVD burners, that's not a good thing. You should always have some form of technology around you that can help you be the media. And so I challenge you to not just consume this content for your own entertainment purposes, that you help me wake people up. So we should appreciate and take pride in without being prideful, but to be grateful that you were born during these times in which there is so much spiritual information available to you to help you evolve beyond this prison planet. If you want to evolve, if you're willing to do the work, but it's not as simple as going to McDonald's. Not to bash those of you that like McDonald's. I like McDonald's too, but I think it's better for me to eat at home and eat salad and eat grass-fed beef. What I'm saying is, we're in such a fast food McDonald's, watch porn right away and jerk off reality. Get drunk right away on bad alcohol reality. A drugged up society, and I don't just mean pharmaceuticals. I mean other forms of drugs as well. We're in such a your way, right away society that people have forgotten to be human. And so they're projecting onto others. The right is projecting onto the left is projecting onto the right, but collectively technology has surpassed our humanity, and it's time to wake up before the king of all solar flares kicks the ass of our grid, humbling us collectively back to nature. And as important as that is, it's going to be very devastating when the solar flares take out the grid. There's going to be a massive death toll. There's going to be starvation. And that's not something that I look forward to. But it's God that is in control. So let's bring it back. Why is there such an obsession with trans rights in the military? Again, is there a connection between the taking of these drugs that alters their hormonal states and being more likely to pull the trigger? Also, Did you know that you can join the US military and be on damaging, mind-controlling pharmaceuticals, ranging from SSRIs to antidepressants to many other drugs that are beyond my current level of understanding? And for years, I believe it was not allowed for you to consume cannabis. But they may have changed that, as it is believed that the military is in a current state of desperation. But as far as them marketing themselves to being trans-friendly, I don't think that that is necessary, because I don't know that the trans population is a significant percentage of our population in the West. It seems that there is another agenda behind that. So feel free to chime in on what you think that is. But under no circumstances should parents deliberately, intentionally try to feminize their children or their little boys and take them to drag shows. Let's go back to Giovanni. Let's go back to Gypsy Fox. So yeah, I don't agree with him saying that the vax should die. And I don't agree with his perspective that all content is crap on the internet. There are some good channels. He doesn't know it all. However, he talked about how his daughter, now that he has been reunited with his daughter, how he is aware of the teaching plans at the school that she goes to. And so they have these curriculums. And so he's aware of what they're pushing. And what are they pushing? The idea of these children having mustaches and blue hair. So these children are being taught at the youngest age possible to get involved in sexuality, be it homosexuality, heterosexuality, or to desire that their gender is adulterated. And there are, believe it or not, homosexuals out there that are not down or in agreement with the sexualization of the children. But we also have a lot of people that are in denial about this. There's a reason why nobody is trans that listens to my content. And I have not seen, right, I'm not promoting discrimination, but I have not seen any examples of any healthy trans individuals that are out there. And is it really an accident that Alex Jones is connected to an individual known as Blair? Alex Jones is believed to have been caught on his radio show viewing trans porn. And so on that note, there are closet homosexuals that are out there in our society that in some cases bash gays while they themselves are involved in such content or behavior. So we can talk longer about what's wrong with these people that attack others for behavior that they themselves are involved in. It's just crazy. And as I said many, many times, there's something really demented and sick about a society and a police state with a prison industrial complex that cheers on the act of rape in prison. Nobody should be raped in prison. And those individuals that are doing the raping, including the jail guards that in sometimes organize with the gangs and work with the gangs and target certain inmates for rape, there should be a special punishment for those individuals. So I'm going to try to find a conclusion. We are being adulterated. We are being changed. We are seeing the decline in good men and women. And I believe that women are capable of a higher degree of spirituality if they weren't under mind control, if our planet wasn't infested with demons. And it could also be argued that the position that our Earth is in, this might sound a little new agey, but it is what it is, that the actual position that our Earth is in is not in the position that it should be in for us to be at our best. So as the planet may be off kilter, and as the planet has been raped by modern technologies and modern man, would it be a surprise that there would be so many unhealthy relationships and so much gender confusion amongst the current population on the earth? So there's a reason why we are dealing with geoengineering. The real reason why they are unleashing 5G and 6G, why they have attacked anyone critical of these wireless technologies, including Bluetooth. As I said also, I find it to be unconscious for somebody with a stove top in a home to cook the vast majority of their food with what is called a microwave. So if you can picture, as we conclude here, a world without all this technology, a world without world wars, a world without drone attacks, a world without all these drugs, a world without the female version of the UFC where women are bashing each other in the head, or other versions of UFC where the men and women are fighting, or other versions of pornography in which violence between men and women is promoted. If we lived in a world without all that crap, what type of a world would we live in? Would we really be then that decrepit and that psychotic and that satanic? If we weren't surrounded by so many screens and so much propaganda. And so yes, I feel guided by God to make attempts to speak to the city of my birth, the people in Portland, Oregon. Having said that, I'm a little pessimistic of the idea that they're going to come over and join my Substack, my YouTube channel, or for former viewers of mine to ask me how I'm doing or show compassion for what I've been through. In fact, there might even be individuals in Portland, Oregon that are of the far left Antifa persuasion, of the pro-trans persuasion, that may actually develop a bias against me, showing that they are devoid of consciousness, because it is highly hypocritical for a lot of these trans individuals to have been involved in the military, to have been involved in killing people, to be suffering from psychosis, that their concerns and their desire to change their own gender and be pumped full of drugs is more important than the lives of other people. It's hypocritical for them to say all cops are bastards. Cops are corrupt. Some cops have done some horrible things to me. But just because there are some bad cops, just like there's some bad white people and some bad Afghans and some bad East Indians and some bad black people, it doesn't mean that all these people of all these groups are bad. Think, McFly, think. I know society doesn't want us to think, but I'm telling you to think. And so there is a purpose in good cops. And the most important job for cops, just to remind you, is to protect women from rape and kidnapping and to respond when she is harmed, not bury the rape kits. But what are most cops doing now in society? They're arresting people in some areas in America for marijuana and other drugs that may be more medicinal and beneficial than the pharmaceuticals, which they will give you for free. And they're handing out tickets left and right. And in some areas in America, they are forcing people back onto the grid using land code officers, which I exposed in Costilla County in 2015, if they don't have 10 grand or 15 grand for a septic system. So there absolutely must be an overhaul in our system, including law enforcement. No, not all cops are bastards, and no, not all veterans are bastards, but veterans of foreign wars after the year 2001, individuals that have contributed to Megadeth, not the rock group, but a massive amount of human beings that have been murdered in cold blood through bombs, depleted uranium, starvation, drone attacks? Where is the morality of these trans individuals that have taken part in genocide? When and where have they ever repented? Because if they truly believed in God, if they truly were superior, if they truly were spiritual, they would have remorse over the things that they have been involved in. Because even if you didn't personally pull the trigger, you joined the gang and those that did. So it's a fallacy for them to say ACAB, all cops are bastards, when it could be argued that the vast majority of the veterans that joined after 9/11 are in fact the real bastards. And with that, I want to thank you for listening.